My mother-in-law secretly poured alcohol into my drink my wedding. I lost consciousness, the banquet was ruined. And now she's trying by my forgiveness for $5,000. Hi everyone, I'm Rachel. I'm 27. 1 week I married my wonderful husband a few years ago. Husband Jaden. He is 32. Our wedding was beautiful, like from a telenovela, where we met 2 years ago at a local coffee shop. I was there all the time. Morning coffee was my salvation wake up before work. One day, there was a tall guy standing in line with me with kind eyes. He seemed nice, but to be honest, I didn't pay special attention to him. Everything I thought it was a way to get it fast to my latte. Later that week, I ran into him again. This time we got to talking while we waited for our drinks. We chatted about everything. About our favorite books, strange children's stories, even about our shared love for this cozy coffee shop. We laughed so much that for the first time that day I felt real alive. Looking back, I realized that I jumped to conclusions at the beginning. Maybe because I was too fixated on his routine or because Jaden was not exactly my type. But that day, something had changed. There was a real kindness. There is a warmth in his smile that I couldn't ignore it. We exchanged numbers, and that same evening Jaden wrote, suggesting that we go out to dinner. We went to a small Italian restaurant on a quiet street. The food was amazing, but the most important thing is conversation. We talked for a few hours and it was so easy and naturally. It turns out we have a lot common: love for old films, secret passion for karaoke, although neither of us can't sing well, and so on. The following as the weeks went by, we saw each other more and more often. We went to hikes, explored museums, even tried, albeit unsuccessfully, to go to ceramics classes. The more time I spent with Jaden, the clearer I understood how special he was. He was funny, smart, supportive, and always he knew how to make me laugh. Thanks to him, I was getting better, but at the same time I felt like myself next to him. And then on the second anniversary of our relationship, Jaden did incredible things to me. Proposal. We went for the weekend to a cozy little house in the mountains. It's quiet outside. It was snowing and we were sitting huddled together to a friend by the fireplace when he sank down one knee and took out the ring. I didn't even remember exactly what he said because all my attention was focused on the light love in his eyes. Of course, I said yes. After returning from this trip, I started planning the wedding with delight. But that's when everything went unexpectedly script. After the engagement, I met his mother Maria, who is 57. She lived outside the city, so before that she didn't have the opportunity with me get to know each other. At first, Maria was very sweet to me. She said that happy that her son is finally got married. Jaden was her only one, as a child, and she mentioned that she always wanted more children. That's why I came in the family became an important event for her. It was as if she had acquired another child. She even hugged me warmly and said, "That can't wait for us to find out better than each other." But everything happens very quickly, changed. That weekend, she came to we can stay and help with preparations for wedding and spend time together. I was happy thinking that we will get closer and will become friends. But the longer she's with us remained, the more her behavior was starting to make me feel uncomfortable. First passive-aggressive comment sounded at breakfast on Saturday. I baked my favorite pancakes. And so far Jaden was drinking coffee in the courtyard. Maria looked at me with a smile and said, "Oh, I take it you're worried about carbs, huh?" I laughed, deciding that it was just a random phrase, but it touched me. Later that day, as we were flipping through wedding dress magazines, Maria pointed to the model and said, "This is the dress is so beautiful, but it's made for a very specific figure. No, everyone can wear it." At the same time, she glanced at me. It was like a subtle hint that in her opinion, I can wear something like that. I just nodded and I tried to brush it off, but inside I felt uneasy. The comments continued. When we went while looking for decorations, she casually said, "My friend's daughter lost weight 9 kilograms for the wedding and looked simple. Amazing. Have you thought about that?" I was shocked and didn't know what to answer. She mumbled something about being pleased with her body, but she felt that she condemns me for not striving to lose weight. The next morning, she was rummaging through my kitchen cabinets and said, "Oh, there are a lot of snacks here. I would try keep healthier food at home. You don't want to gain weight before the wedding." Really? It was hard to believe that she still clings to my weight and that it was really starting to hurt. It seemed like as if she was picking on purpose, although she always has a smile on her face and voice sounds friendly. The strangest thing is it was that under Jaidan. Marion never I didn't make such comments. As if she had a switch. Next to her son she nothing but charm and kindness. But it was worth it. He left the room. They immediately began barbs. I felt like I was living into different realities. In one, I accept and love, and in the other constantly criticize and condemn. At first, I decided don't tell Jayden. It's his after all, Mum, and I didn't want to create tension. Especially when we had just got engaged and were so happy. I convinced myself that it was a small thing that I can survive. Besides, I'm skinny. I have curves, and I love them. My body. I worked for a long time to gain confidence. Maria's comments were more annoying than destructive. It seemed like she was just tried to punch a hole in my self-esteem, but I wasn't going to let her do that. However, Maria began to come more and more often. It seemed like every weekend she was there and it was starting to drive me crazy. I worked from Monday to Friday, and weekends were the only time for wedding preparations. But wherever you look, Maria is nearby helping or just hanging around was difficult to concentrate when she chimed in with her comments and led himself as if he knows better. One day and on the weekend, she called and said that will come again. My heart sank. I really needed some time alone to plan a wedding without her intervention. That's why I said that I'll be busy and won't be home. She asked what I would do, and before I could stop myself, I blurted out that I was going to watch a wedding dress. I guess I just wanted to, so that she understands that I have serious affairs. To my horror, she was delighted and said that she wanted to go with me. I didn't know how to refuse without rudeness, so I reluctantly agreed. And there she was already standing at my door with a wide smile, repeating how happy she was helped me find the perfect dress. I tried to smile back, but everything inside me sank. I had a premonition of how terrible this would be trip. We visited several salons' wedding dresses, and from the very moment, as soon as we entered, Maria switched on mum mode. Offered dresses that I didn't liked it, and left comments about it that certain styles won't fit my figure. It was exhausting. It seemed like I couldn't even breathe, feeling her condemnation. When I tried it on a dress that really suits me, I liked it. She said, "It's beautiful, but don't you think it's too much? Is it tight around the waist? Maybe something more free would suit you better." I'm so disappointed because I liked this dress, but her words made me doubt myself. At the end of the day, I still hadn't chosen an outfit and I felt depressed. Maria went home and I finally took a breath relief. Over the next few days, she kept pestering me with messages with questions about when I'll go for it again dress. I answered every time that for now, I don't know when I'll find the time. I'm determined. I decided that this time I wouldn't tell her about their plans. But everything fell through when Jayden told my mum that I was going to dress shop the next day. She immediately called and asked, "How much is it?" She come to me. Now I need it. Was time to make a decision. Maria had already made it. So many comments about my body that I was just afraid to take her with me. I knew that if she went, the day would be spoiled by her comments and condemnation. So I decided to come up with an excuse, told her that in this wedding salon there are rules. You can only quote 2 people and that my family is already traveling with me, mum and friend bestowed. Yes, I knew it was a very stupid lie, but at that moment nothing better came into head. Maria immediately declared that it was absurd and asked what kind of wedding a salon that only allows 2 people. That's stupid. I stuttered and said, "Yes, I know. It's strange, but that's exactly what they said." I was all sweaty, realizing how stupid I was my lie. She quickly added that I needed to leave and cut the call before she could start asking new questions. How as soon as I hung up the phone, it hit me a wave of guilt. I hated lying. More to Jayden's mum, but I just don't. I could stand it for another day. Critics. I decided to focus on good and remind yourself that this day should be joyful and exciting. My mum and my friend came to pick me up and we went to a wedding salon. I tried to put aside the feeling of guilt and enjoy the moment, and I managed to find a dress that I can just wear. Fell in love. After that, Maria stopped call, write and come to our home. She continued to communicate with Jayden and it was a relief. So, between them there was no awkwardness. I sent her a photo. in a dress, hoping to share with her joy. In response, she only put thumbs up, emoji, and nothing else I wrote. I didn't know how it was. Interpret, but decided not to dwell on it. I had too many worries about preparing for the wedding to spend energy to her reaction. When is the wedding day? Was approaching. I was busy with things to do, and I didn't write to marry her anymore. There's a lot to sort out, the guest list to be approved, confirm catering, follow up decor. And now it's finally time, the long-awaited day. It surpassed all my expectations. The ceremony was beautiful, and I couldn't stop smiling as I walked along walkway to Jaden. His gaze when he saw me in a dress was priceless, for it was worth going through all this stress of preparation. We said our vows. We exchanged rings, and that's how we did it, became husband and wife. The festive reception started off beautifully. We had an amazing sight. The weather, it was perfect. The food was very delicious. And it seems like all the guests are having a great time. We had a great time. I was delighted. Our first dance. Jaden and I took a few lessons, and we managed to never step on each other's feet. It was like a fairy tale. I was in seventh heaven. Everything was going smoothly until I decided to get myself a drink. I went up to the bar to get something refreshing, and there stood Maria. She turned to me with a wide smile and she said, "I see you're having a wonderful time. Let me treat you. Just relax and enjoy." I was surprised. Her sudden enthusiasm. But she thought that maybe she's trying to make amends awkwardness. She handed it to me non-alcoholic cocktail. I thanked and took a sip. After a few minutes, I felt sleepy, but I decided that it was just from fatigue. And then I fell to the floor and lost consciousness. Suddenly, it went dark in front of my eyes, and the next thing I heard was panicked Jaden's voice calling for an ambulance. In his, there was a desperate alarm in his voice. He tried to keep me from switching off. People started to gather around, but for me, everything was like a fog. When we arrived, paramedics. They quickly brought me to feeling and started asking what I ate and drank that day. I told everything, including the food at the banquet and that cocktail, which Maria gave me. They became wary and asked if there was anything unusual or whether I took medication. At this moment, Maria looked guilty. She admitted that the drink contained alcohol. She said she didn't think it will be a problem and wanted to help me relax. I was shocked. Why did she poured me alcohol without telling me about it? My friend and witness Emily told the paramedics that I had a drink a few minutes before going down the aisle, an anxiety pill. I was nervous that everything would go perfectly, that I decided to take a small dose so that calmed down. It turned out that it was the combination of medication and alcohol caused my fainting spell. Apparently, it happened a chemical reaction that simply knocked me out. The paramedics explained that mixing alcohol with some drugs can be extremely dangerous, and I'm lucky it didn't end that way. Worse, when the paramedics left, Jaden turned to Marie and told her to leave. His voice trembled with rage, and Maria looked shocked. She tried to justify herself. She assured that she didn't want to nothing bad happen, misunderstanding. But Jaden didn't want her listen. He shouted for her to leave. Banquet immediately. I've never had one before. I saw him so angry, and my heart, it was torn apart by the fact that he was forced to do so. Quarrel with your own mother on the day weddings. Because of all this fuss, I felt terrible, and the atmosphere the holiday collapsed. The guests were uncomfortable, and the joy that we tried so hard to create just evaporated. People began to disperse one by one after another, and soon the holiday was over ahead of time. It was painful to see how everyone leaves so early, and the day I'm talking about, I dreamed of it for so long. It turned out to be destroyed. Jaden and I returned to the hotel room, and I tried to comprehend everything that had happened. I felt anemic and tired, and then a wave of sadness washed over me. That day was supposed to be one of the most happy in my life, but instead turned into a disaster due to stupidity mother-in-law's antics. I couldn't believe it, that Mary's thoughtlessness destroyed ours a special celebration. Maria continued to send messages and call both me and Jaden, but we didn't answer. There was time to think everything over and decide what to do. I saw how hard it was given to Jaden. He loved his mother, but at the same time I was incredibly angry because her actions. The situation was difficult and I didn't know how to fix everything. When we finally returned home, I tried to leave everything behind and focus on our new life, but it wasn't easy. Every time I thought about our wedding, my heart sank with sadness. I kept replaying it in my head over and over again events, thinking about how everything could have been otherwise. If Mary had not arranged this joke, it seemed as if over the beautiful a dark cloud hung over the memory. Fortunately, we soon went on a honeymoon month. It was a real relief to leave. From all the drama and stress, Jaden and I had a great time exploring new places and creating beautiful memories together. It was the perfect escape, and during those 2 weeks, I felt that everything was back to normal. We laughed, we relaxed and enjoyed each other's company, without worrying about anything. But when we returned, reality hit me right away. As soon as we pulled up to home, Maria was already waiting for us at the door. My heart sank and a feeling appeared in my stomach, a lump of anxiety. I knew that the collision inevitable, but I wasn't prepared for that it will happen the same moment we do, we'll come back. The worst thing was that she didn't even apologize. Instead, she kept insisting that it wasn't her fault and that it was all just a joke. She tried to justify your actions by saying, I thought you would feel bad and I just wanted to defuse the situation. Me was pissed that she refused to couldn't take responsibility. Believe that she is trying to admit everything, what happened, presenting it as harmless prank. Jaden couldn't resist. He exploded and said that this is the end, that she crossed the line and must admit it. Guilt. If she wants him again spoke to her, then she should apologize to me. He said that she hurt me deeply and that unacceptable. Maria tried to interrupt, but he didn't allow it. He continued, from now on they will only see each other at the party, no surprise visits on weekends, no unnecessary calls. Everything will be as it is, as if they were distant relatives, which are found only in special situations cases. Maria was shocked and burst into tears, but Jaden stood his ground. I saw how hard it was for him to put mother in place, but he was determined to stand by my side and take care of so that I feel insecurity. Yesterday, when I was in the office, Maria called me. I was surprised, because we hadn't talked for a long time and I didn't expect her to come out at all connection, especially during the workday. She said that she was standing near my office and wanted me. I was confused and definitely not wanted her to come inside and was making a scene, so I decided to go out to herself to avoid unnecessary drama. We sat down in a small cafe opposite and I immediately saw that she was very upset. As soon as we started talking, she burst into tears. It was terribly awkward. People around even started to turn around and look at us. She said she can believe what Jaden is doing. He doesn't answer her calls and messages. She was desperate and begged me talk to him on her behalf, claiming that he just wants everything to be as it is earlier. I want to remind you that at that moment, Maria never apologized to me for what happened at the wedding. She seemed to be in complete denial. The consequences of their actions. I said her that instead of coming to I have to go to work and make a scene, it's worth thinking about how her actions affected me and Jaden. I explained that she ruined my wedding day and it was unfair to expect that I'll close my eyes to this and talk to my husband for her sake. She tried to justify herself, saying that she didn't mean to cause harm and that she's sorry that my body is like this reacted. It seemed like she didn't care at all, could go beyond her point of view and understand that her actions had real consequences. She kept repeating, if only I knew it would turn out like this, I didn't do that. Meanwhile, she continued to cry and people in the cafe looked at us with concern. I felt terribly uncomfortable and all I could think about was about how to get out of there. I told her, I'll see what I can do, but I didn't make any promises. I didn't talk to Jaden about it because that they are confidently ready to forgive Maria. She didn't even apologize until I didn't remind her about it myself. My mother advises to let go of the situation and forgive mother-in-law, but I'm not sure. What do you think? I really need some advice. Well, before we continue, I suggest you answer this right now. The author's question is in the comments. Personally, I would not forgive this mother-in-law and would not speak. I would talk about this with Jaden, no matter how harshly it was not. Because if the mother-in-law really wants to improve relations with son, why doesn't she just apologize? She doesn't want to apologize, but wants everything to be like before. And what does that mean before? Continue to humiliate daughter-in-law, it turns out. Plus, the author says that in the presence of Jaden, the mother-in-law behaved normally. And when, accordingly, Jaden left, then very bad. But it seems to me that being alone on one with Jaden, Mother-in-law too let out some bad ones comments, because that's how it is, harsh reaction at the wedding. Understand it can only be done this way. Well, at least. It became obvious to me that Jaden. I immediately considered the mother's evil intent, not just like that. And probably Jaden's mother. I've said something like this for a long time now. She's a bad match for herself and all that. Someone might, of course, say that. Why doesn't she actually lose weight? But damn, everyone has their own tastes, and for some people like curvier ladies. On the contrary, thinner. And there's no accounting for taste, as we know. Anyway, let's continue, and we'll find out what happened next. Update 1. Hello everyone. Huge thanks for your comments and advice. It is very important for me to have the opportunity to share your story and get support. I'm already tired of the constant calls and messages from Maria, and this is the beginning. It was wearing me out, so I decided that it's time to talk to Jaden again and find a way to solve the problem. I said him that Maria came to my office and apologized. It was a bit an exaggeration, because in reality her apology was far from what I would like to hear, but I felt like it was time to try it, though I would like to improve relations a little. I said to Jaden, who asked her to forgive him. Overall, it was true, because I wanted it to leave this whole nightmare behind and focus on the future. Jaden looked at me with concern and asked, "Am I sure?" I said, "Yes, but you need to set boundaries with his mother to avoid new drama." He believed that I am ready to forgive her, but also I understood that it was not just about me, but about us as a couple and in our need for peace and stability. After our conversation, Jaden wrote to Maria. He said that I'm glad she apologized to me and what we are ready to try to improve relationship. But he also made it clear that stands its ground. No surprises, visits, no constant calls, and no attempts to cross the line. He said we needed space to focus on my own life. Maria answered almost immediately, writing that she was sorry and that she just wants to be a part of our lives. She promised to respect our borders and give us the space we ask for. I still have mixed feelings. On the one hand, I'm glad that Maria seems to be I would take ours seriously conditions. On the other hand, I still feel alarmed because I know one violation on her part, and all the drama will come back. I try to focus on the good, and I remind myself that there is progress, even if slow. Many more of you, they asked about my anxiety. I'll tell you, it's just that I'm not very comfortable discuss it, but I appreciate your concern. My anxiety wasn't related to the fact that I doubted Jaden or our relationship. I knew he was the one. The moment we got serious meet, it was all about wedding day and the stress associated with it, organizing such a large-scale event. We had over 200 guests, and I wanted everything to go well for them, perfect. I was afraid something would go wrong. That's not right. The food won't be tasty, the music sad. The decorations are not like mine. I was thinking about it. I was constantly thinking about little things that could ruin the day, and it was incredibly tense. I wanted it to our guests got the most out of it, pleasure, and remembered the wedding as a beautiful and joyful event. Update 2. Hello everyone. I have something unexpected happened, and I didn't know how to feel about this. Everything went well, more or less calm, until last weekend when Jaden received a call from Maria and invited us to dinner at her place. She said it was important to sit down at the table together and start returning to normal life after everything that happened. Jaden told me about this invitation and asked what I thought. I replied that it will be okay if we go. Maybe. This is her way of trying to make amends for the wine. When we arrived at Maria's, she met us with a warm smile, but after dinner she did something that completely changed me. Stunned. She left the room and returned with a check for $5.0. She handed it to me and said that I'm so sorry she ruined my wedding day, and although the past is not change, she wants to give this money as a way to make amends for the wine. I was shocked and immediately felt uncomfortable. This gesture was completely unexpected, and I didn't know how to react. I immediately refused and said that I don't need it. What is needed and what is better is to just leave everything behind. Jaden agreed and said that she doesn't need to give us money, but Maria insisted. She refused to take the check and literally shoved it into my pocket coat. I was so amazed that I didn't know what to do. She looked desperate, as if she needed it so that we accept the money. That's all became even more awkward. Soon after that we went home. On the way with Jaden and I discussed what happened, and both felt confused. Why Maria gave us such a large sum? It looked weird and made me think about it. She really regrets it, or is he just trying to buy ours? Forgiveness? Jaden is as upset as and I. We both want to figure this out. Situation both fairly and respectfully. We don't want to offend Maria or reject her. An attempt to fix something, but we don't want to feel like we can be bought. If has anyone had a similar experience or does anyone have one? Advice, I will be very grateful for your thoughts. Update 3. It's been 2 weeks now since my last update, and to be honest, there's nothing special, it's changed. We still have Marie's receipt. It's lying there. We didn't cash it out. He just lies in the drawer as a reminder of everything that happened. I'm not sure that we'll do something with him eventually, but for now, he's just there. The relationship with Maria in general at the same level. It's like we're stuck in a state of expectation. We try to be polite and respectful, but not delving into the past. She respects our borders, and I'm very happy about it. She no longer appears without warning. Stop the endless calls and messages. It seems she really does trying to change, and it gives me hope for the future. Jaden and Maria talk on the phone regularly, and their conversations sound positive. I'm glad that their relationship didn't suffer too much from everything that happened. I do too sometimes. I'm talking to Maria. Our conversation's polite, a little formal, but we want to stay friendly. I think this will be my last update. I don't think so. That in the near future a lot will change, and I hope that everything will be gradually improve. I want focus on the good and live further. I think this is the best thing I have right now. I can do it for myself. If suddenly something serious will happen, maybe I'll write an update again. Thank you again for everything, and I wish everyone a wonderful day. Well, that's all for now. No more updates. It was. So I suspect what will happen next. The relationship was going smoothly. It turns out I was wrong, and Maria really was worth forgiving. Maybe it's just like that, a person who never admits their guilt. But nevertheless, even such people can somehow to be corrected, as we see. And I thought about it at the moment when my mother-in-law gave it to me a check for $5.0, which many already they rushed to write in the comments that, well, yeah, right, no way, I wish they'd given me a receipt like that. Like, let's do it with my mother-in-law. I'll have some bad relationship, but I will have such give me checks. I'll be happy to accept them. In general, if you thought so, right, it will be interesting to know how many of these there are people. Thank you for listening to this story to the end. See our previous videos you will see right here, and be sure to subscribe to our channel so you don't miss new ones video if you haven't already, and good luck to you.